welcome back to the Twisted Builds podcast. Yeah, it's been a while. So, lots happened. I haven't had time to record a podcast. I know last episode I said we're back. And then it's been a month or two since I've done another one. So, I do apologize. I am working with there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm going to update all of you guys and gals in this episode. So, if I haven't made it podcast or YouTube official, I have a new business partner. So, Kevin Marksberry has officially come on to the Twisted Builds LLC company, and he is making products with Twisted Builds LLC or myself, and we will be marketing them together. So I'm glad to have him on. He is the other normal podcast host for this podcast. We are working diligently right now with getting him more on him and I. It's mainly me. Don't get me wrong. It's not him. It's mainly me. He has been going back to college/tech school, and he has been crazy busy with that. I've been crazy busy with the life I live, and it just, our schedules haven't lined up. That's why I'm doing this one by myself again. He is planning on coming back. I'm excited to have him back. But again, it's not his fault in any which way, shape, or form. It's been my fault because I just haven't had time. I've been real busy. So, I actually have a list of things I want to go over. So, that way I can kind of keep myself in track. And I'm going to start trying to do that. I actually got that idea from another podcast I've been helping out with and was a guest on just recently. It's the Customer States podcast. So, Mike, Sierra, Jake, Allie, and Kevin run that podcast. It's about everything in the automotive industry on the service side. I highly recommend it. I've been helping them out with their website design and just general things electronically with their podcast, and which, yes, I've been neglecting my own, but I am bringing it back again. I've said that a couple of times. Anyway, I'm working on it. So, one of the issues I've been having with remote in guests is audio quality. We just found that out with the last one. I just guested on the Customer States podcast, and we were using Zoom, and Zoom is absolutely just trashing the quality of the podcast episode. So, not podcast episode, but the audio quality. So we are still going to use Zoom for video. I'm trying what's called Discord. I'm sure a lot of you know about that for the audio. We're going to try and give that a go, see if that works. Kind of go from there. So please work with us. But we're planning on having Kevin back and John back and guests. And I'm excited to have guests on and everything on and keep this rolling. So we're going to shoot for, I want to do a bare minimum bi-weekly schedule. Email me, dale@twistedbuilds.com, if there's stuff you want to hear about on the podcast. I need to get a kind of like a form going or some kind of outline, layout of the podcast, and we're going to just feel it out. I need to get back into this, so I am working on it. So, all right. Things I have on my list to go over today. So, some of you know, some of you that follow me on Facebook or Instagram or any of the social beads, know that I just went through a flood. So, probably 3 weeks ago from the time of recording this, it might be 2 weeks ago, we got a nasty flood. So, it's actually, for our area, the worst flood before this was the flood of 72, I want to say, 71, 72, something like that, where a lot of Pennsylvania was underwater. It was more of an isolated deal in my specific area, but my house had roughly 2 feet of water in the garage, and I would say about 1.5 feet in the basement, which is the work area you're seeing me in right now if you're watching this on YouTube. So, I've been doing a lot of cleaning. There's a lot more to go. That's taken up a good chunk of my time. I had to replace a bunch of appliances, which has slowed things down because I've had to kind of like reallocate money instead of doing for projects and stuff, do that. And I'm bringing stuff back, but that's, again, slowed some stuff down. It is what it is. I mean, stuff like that happens. So, but yes, I had a couple feet of water in my basement. I had to get that taken care of. Thankfully, everything I had that was like high dollar stuff was above the water line. There was some stuff that was under water line. Some stuff I'm going to have to replace. but thankfully a lot of it was above water. So, like all my good equipment, all my manufacturing equipment, 3D printers, the mill and the lathe, and stuff like that. All of that was above water. So um, thankfully all that stuff made it. So that way I've got I've still got a decent amount of stuff I can do. So there's still some cleaning I gotta do, and it's just some of it's just backlog cleaning I've been putting off, and I should have been. I just need to get it done. And the other stuff is just I'm gonna have to sort through what's just flat out garbage now and get rid of it. But I've gotten a lot done. I'm gonna say it was probably about 2 weeks ago, thinking about it. But anyway, so in between work and life and the business and just everything else I've got going on, there's still some work yet to be done, but yes, so that was something holding me from this. Imagine. S10 project. I need to make a YouTube video on this soon. I haven't made a YouTube video on the S10 in a long time, and it made a bunch of progress before. I made a pile of progress before the flood, probably between videos. Rear suspension is done except for sway bar. I gotta do a sway bar. I'm gonna have to clean some of the stuff up. It was in the flood, so some of the rear suspension components got a little rusty. Nothing bad. It's just scale, like surface rust. I would say, because it was bare metal parts. I haven't had time to paint anything yet, but I got a pile of work done. So the rear suspension is all done. The front suspension got completely cut off the frame. All the factory stuff's gone. I replated the frame in the front end, boxed in where like the coil springs and everything were. That's all boxed in. It's pretty much C-channel now in the front for a frame. And I'm building complete custom suspension for the front of the frame too. That is going to get custom control arms. I'm actually going to make a jig so that way I can make more control arms if need be. That way I don't make one set of custom control arms. If I bend one from heavy use, because that truck's going to get abused, I won't be out a set of control arms. I'll have a jig that I'm going to make them on. And then if I bend one, break one, whatever, from just beating on it, I'll have a jig I can make another set. And I do plan on making probably multiple sets. The first one's just going to be a set. Once I get the truck going, I'll make another set so that way I have it, and I'll just save all my files, like all my design and whatnot, so that way I know how to make it, and use that jig, make others, so that way I have like a spare set around in case I need. Because with drifting and just the way I plan on driving that truck, I'm gonna overbuild the front suspension. Don't get me wrong; it's not gonna be made with weak stuff. I'm gonna be using DOM tubing. I'm gonna use the recommended. I think it's 0120 wall. I'm sure people will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking it's gonna be 020 wall. I want to say 1.25 OD, but again, it's been a while since I spec'd any of this out. And again, with everything going on, I haven't had time to get back to it. I was getting right to the point of I made custom engine mounts. So I bought a set of swap mounts originally for the build. It was gonna put the engine too high. Yeah, not really. It was going to put the engine too high for what I wanted to do. We all know a lower center of gravity helps with handling, helps with drifting, and a drift truck or a drift car is just a really good handling car at its core, pretty much. And I wanted the lowest center of gravity I could get, which is get the crank center line as low as I can go while still being safe, where I'm not going to have to worry about going over a speed bump or anything like that. So that's what I did. The front cross member of the frame where it drops down underneath the motor, that got cut. It got DOM tubing in there. I do not remember what size I think the wall thickness was. It was over 120. It was in between 120 and like a quarter. I can't remember exactly what it was, like 375, like or something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, I got a nice thick piece of pipe DOM tubing in there. Plated it with. I want to say it was a little smaller than a 1/4 inch plate, like a little thinner than a 1/4 inch plate, like 3/16 I think plate. Anyway, doesn't matter. I plated it, put that tube in it, and then I was able to the oil pan I actually got for my Firebird, which was an F-body oil pan. I was able to put that on this 6.2. It's just on for mock-up currently, and then I was able to drop the engine roughly 4 inches. In the frame, so I could get that really low center of gravity. with that oil pan and everything. Got plenty of clearance everywhere, so that way it can move and shift or whatever if it needs to. Now the motor mount shouldn't allow that to happen, but if it does, it's got plenty of room. Did that, got the motor dropped down, then went forward with making the engine mount. So I made, as I said, I bought engine swap mounts for an S10. They were too high, so I made my own. And before, if you're watching this on YouTube, they were like a 45-degree angle, and then they came down and then like at a 45, and then down straight at a 90 down for a little bit. And now the motor mounts are like you have the sides of the motor, and the mount plates come straight out, opposing each other. So I dropped it quite a bit. I'm gonna say it's roughly 4 inches. And funny thing is those motors must have been, I never checked the factory installed driveline angle, like the crankshaft angle, because right now to get roughly, I think I'm at like 3 degrees of installed angle. It might be 2.5. I'd have to check again. It's been a bit. But to get that kind of installed angle, even with a 4-inch drop, I still had to have the transmission not quite in the factory location, but it did not drop much. I'm going to say the tail shaft of that transmission is probably a 1/2 inch lower than factory. And then the engine mount, the engine was dropped heavily, and I still have like the forward of the engine is up about 2.5 to 3 degrees. I don't remember specifics. I know it's in that window. And again, the transmission is getting mounted really close to the factory height at the tail shaft housing, which is, I thought, was insane. So the factory setup must have been really angled. Or, again, those swap mounts that they used to put the V8s in those, maybe it had an extreme angle. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, the motor's going to get installed with like a 2.5 to 3 degree installed, driveline angle. And I'm working on the transmount. Transmount is a tubular transmount. The mount itself, like the crossmember part, is made. I was just getting to making the part that comes out and actually bolts to the transmount itself when the flood happened. And that's kind of put a brakes on everything. So I do plan on getting back to that. That actually might happen within this next week, depending on things. Anyway, but that's where that's at. On to business. So I am still selling the Simple Dial Boosts. So this is one of them I actually have in stock. I have them in stock. I have one. I just sold the other one I had in stock, I think yesterday. But still got one in stock. I've got the parts to make more. That's going to be happening. That's on the docket, I believe, for this week to stock up. I've only been keeping a couple of these on hand. But I have them in stock. So if anyone's interested, I still have the simple 4-wire boost controllers in stock. But, and I don't want you to like hold up on ordering one. If you just want the simplest, cheapest boost controller I'm going to make, this is an awesome product. I've sold, I don't even remember how many of them. I literally have to look. It's been hundreds. I'm probably getting close to 1,000, I would say. It's a lot. I've sold a lot of them, but which has been great. Thank you guys for supporting this small business. But so yes, so this is my Simple Dial Boost. I am working on and nearly have all the pieces for the Advanced Dial Boost. I've been talking about this for a while. It's happening. I've got the boxes here. I've got it's going to look a lot the same on the front. So it's going to have the same screen as the Simple Dial Boost. The knob is going to be different. It's going to be in the same location, but this one's actually going to be a rotary dial. So there's not going to be endpoints. Like there's not going to be a max and a minimum. This thing's going to continue to rotate. Like if you rotate it, it'll just keep going and going and going and going and going. It's not going to have a high and a low point. The knob has also got a push-in button. So whenever I start making them, I will film them and get them on YouTube. So that way you guys can see. But the Advanced Dial Boost, same kind of screen, same kind of bezel for the screen. Rotary dial. The 4-wire deal is going away. I'm actually getting very, very professional about this, which makes me very happy. It's been a lot of work. I've made a PCB board. That's the one thing holding me up from building prototypes. I'm just waiting for those to come in the mail. I got the notification they have shipped. They should be here in the next week. or so. I had them shipped priority, so I'm hoping I get them soon. Anyway, the PCB design I forgot to grab the 3D printed one, but the software I use, and I'll just be straight with everyone, the software I use is KiCad. It's an open source software. A lot of manufacturers use it. A lot of your like board, your PCB parts manufacturing, or like I guess warehouses like DigiKey, Mauser, a couple others. They release all of their stuff for KiCad as well, like all their footprints and like 3D representations and stuff like that of the parts. So, needless to say, I got sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so I got everything coming. The board is coming. I had 3D printed a digital representation out of plastic, obviously, of my board. What's going to happen is there's going to be two plug-in Molex connectors on the back. So this, as I said, this whole big bulky thing with 4 wires on it is going to go away. It's going to be a 16 wire plug-in. I don't think I'm using all 16 wires. I think I'm using 14 of the 16. I'd have to check again. Anyway, so, but it's an advanced dial boost. So it's going to have 3 stages of boost control, open loop. It's going to have boost by time. It's going to have boost by input. It's going to have a map sensor that you're going to hook up with it. I have a couple of map sensors. I need to order a couple more for prototyping. My plan is to make these pretty much used with the Low Dollar Motorsports map sensors. It will be a requirement. I may make them work also with some cheaper ones, but I'm trying to get everything over to the Low Dollar sensors because they're a really good quality sensor. I've been using them for a while. I highly recommend them. Brandon's great to deal with, and I plan on making my Advanced Dial Boost products work with his sensors. So, needless to say, those are coming out. I am working on them. So, all the code, the code is 99% done. It's gonna be one of those things I gotta physically build the unit. Then I gotta do some just more testing with the physical built unit. Make sure I didn't mess anything up. Make sure the PCB design's good. Make sure the code works with the PCB design. Make sure it actually functions in the real world. I've got getting 5 prototypes made. Most all of them are already spoken for. I think I have a slot left. So if you're interested in testing a prototype, get a hold of me. Have to have a running turbo car. That is the stipulation. It's not going to be, I've got a project going together or anything like that. I need data on these. We are going into the winter season, so I'm going to understand that. But, so like if it happens next spring, it happens next spring. But I am working on them. So that's that one. Next up is the thing that everyone's been bugging me about. Transcontrol. Transcontrol is coming. So, my business partner, very nicely asked for that to get bumped to the very front of the line, because I've been also working a tiny bit on my digital display because I'm going to need one for my S10. But Transcontrol's happening. It's not going to be just a 4L80E controller. It's going to be a 4L60E and 80E controller, both wrapped into one. I figured out how to do it. So, the one thing that was stopping me from a 4L60E control is the 3-2 downshift solenoid. I finally got my hands on everything I need to know about how to make that work. So, I'm currently working on coding that. I have been for a while. I actually started fresh, so anything you've seen on my YouTube channel for the old 4L80E controller, that code, I didn't delete it, but that code is completely just gone away. I'm starting over because that code was specific for a 4L80E controller, and just to be honest, I've learned a pile of coding since I did that project. I've learned an absolute pile in coding since I did that project. And I opened it up thinking I'm going to add 60E control to this, and I'm like, it's going to be faster if I start over. So the Advanced Dial Boost taught me a pile of encoding and what I need to do, what I need to change, structure, layout, switch stuff, other odds and ends like switch statements and everything like that, how to make the thing more efficient, And I'm going to be working on the transmission controller. Is going to have its own program released by me and Twisted Builds LLC, computer program to adjust it. It's going to be computer controlled or like laptop based tunable. And we're going to go from there. But it's going to have a 460E, 480E, full automatic manual valve body. And the 80Es for sure will get the sloppy version of a trans brake, which you can turn that feature on and off is the plan. For all 60, looking at it, I might be able to do the same thing. I don't know if it's going to hold up. That's the problem. So it would be one that you would put in manual. The way the 460E valve body is, it's different than the 80E, where you can have that thing in first, like manual low, and it can command third gear. So I've heard people doing that in the past. I wasn't sure, and I verified that in the GM manuals. That thing, yes, you have a manual shift valve, and you can go from like overdrive, drive, second, first. And when you go from overdrive to drive, it actually engages some overrun clutches and physically makes the transmission stronger. If you take that all the way into manual low for like launching the car, it's going to make it stronger yet. You're still only dealing with a 60E, so don't get me wrong with that. It's still a 60E, and they're still not that great. But I've been getting so hounded by customers about 60E, 68, or 6L. I can't talk tonight. Sorry. And this is a podcast. 4L60E and 4L80E controllers. So, and my business partner is helping me with that. So we are bringing it online. So again, this is going to take some time. Don't expect this to be an overnight deal. This stuff takes time. That's why you've pretty much seen the Simple Dollar Boost and the Spoolie Boy stuff released by me. And that's been it for a while, because I refuse to release a product that's not very, very well tested, debugged, ran through the paces, ran through the ringer, and just to make sure it's good to go. So, it's going to take a little bit of time. So, but it's literally, that is after the Advanced Dollar Boost is released, it gets 100% attention as my next controller I'm bringing on. But yeah, that's right now. As I said, I'm waiting on prototype parts to come in. Mainly, I'm literally waiting on PCB boards. Once those show up, I will be going into the physically making the Advanced Dollar Boost, verifying codes, good stuff like that. Get the prototypes out for testing, and it's full-on transmission control. So the next one on my list of things is the Speeduino products. Chip shortage. Straight up, that's what it is. I've been wanting to get my hands on a couple from Josh Stewart. I'm an official reseller. I can't get my hands on them. It's just the chip shortage right now. So there's some chips that everyone uses in the automotive industry for engine control management, and the Speeduinos are on them too, because it's the go-to chips. I believe it's the voltage regulators right now. So because I can, even like myself, I can get my hands on almost everything except it looks like the voltage regulators. So that's like, I've been getting messages, I've been getting emails like, hey, I want to get my hands on a Speeduino. Well, that's the problem, because I can't get my hands on them myself. So I was making my own, and this is a prototype, so ignore some of the epoxied external wires you're going to see if you're watching this on YouTube. But this is actually the one out of the Firebird. I was working on my own. I may work on a different design. I would rather just sell the drop bears that are the mass manufactured drop bear ECUs. They do work well. I just I've got a couple of buddies that are running them on LSs, and they've been great. And that's what I want to do. But if the chip shortage gets to the point where it makes sense for me, because I don't have to code anything. It's literally just hardware and PCB design. So, and I can get access to the same cases and everything. So I may end up making my own PCB design, changing voltage regulators and a couple other odds and ends, and testing and running it that way. that has crossed my mind. I would rather wait. The drop bears a good ECU. I want to wait to see what happens there. If we get out of the chip shortage and can actually get our hands on the stuff, I would rather do that. So that's the Speeduino update. Yes, I know I've been getting hounded about them. I'm sorry if I haven't responded to you. The email list is getting long. I think I've responded to everyone, but just in case your email got lost, I hope you hear this podcast or see this video on YouTube and understand that's what's going on. So that is that. The next up, 3D printed products. So I still sell the parts cannons, as everyone knows and loves. So parts cannons. I'm going to be working on a couple of custom stuff too. But a lot of it, the 3D printers are being used for my production. Again, the screen bezels for, I don't know if you can see that, the screen bezels for the advanced dial boost and the simple dial boost are made with the 3D printer. And I'll use it a lot for prototyping. I should have brought the board down that I 3D printed, because it literally is a 3D printed representation of the advanced dial boost board with a 3D printed representation of like the connectors and everything. It's actually really sweet to work with. So that way I was able to make sure like physical design of the board's right. It's going to fit in the cases I'm using and everything like that. But I am doing custom prints. I have opened that up. I've had that open for a while. I have a new printer that can do 2 different colors on the same print. I have been using that printer for 2 different colors on the same print. As I'm sure a lot of you know, if you listen to the Customer States podcast or have seen, I actually make sell the bells for them. Those are printed with the 2-color 3D printer, which is over here if you're watching the video. So, if you need something 2-color printed or just want some prototypes, I'm a small business. I'm working with other small businesses, and I'm not here to make a killing off of it. It's a fun hobby for me, and I'll treat you right. So if you need something, a prototype printed, because that's like whenever I got into 3D printing, I got into 3D printing because of these simple dial boost screen bezels. I designed this bezel in a software called FreeCAD, and I needed them printed, and all the people that I was talking to about getting these printed were going to charge me an astronomical price. I mean, absolutely stupid. So one was literally $20 a bezel. It's a little piece of plastic. One company wanted to charge me $20 for this thing. I refuse to do that to anyone. I will not do that. So, if you want something designed, then yeah, you got some design time in it. But if you're providing your own design and you just want it 3D printed, I'm going to work with you guys and gals. So if it's something you want done, need done, want to try out, prototype, whatever, and you want something done like that, reach out to me, Dale@twistedbuilds.com, or get on to me Facebook, find me on Facebook, Instagram, or comment on the YouTube stuff. I do watch the comments on there as well. Just reach out to me. I will be more than willing to help you out there. Next up would be tools. So if you have stayed this long, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, this is a tool I made out of anger, pretty much. So I am a Master Certified Technician with Ford Motor Company. I work for a dealership roughly an hour from where I live. And I do a pile, or I did a pile, and I still do them from time to time, 1.5 liter and 2 liter escape engines. So it's kind of a thing. The 2 liters got a whole engine. The 1.5's got short blocks. Ford decided to put the radiator drain plug tool at a 90-degree angle pointed towards the radiator support. All right. With no room to get anything in there. I don't care what anyone says. I've tried everything. People have said, oh, put a 19mm socket in there. I can't get it to fit. I don't know what you guys are doing. I've tried pliers. I've tried all kinds of stuff, because they do get stuck in the radiator a little bit. And I try not to make a mess. For me, it's nice to be able to pull the radiator drain plug out, drain all the fluid out of it, so I'm not like getting coolant down my arm or anything like that while I'm trying to get the hoses off. No, it doesn't get all the coolant out of the system, but it gets most of it out, and you deal with a lot less of it whenever you're taking hoses off. So get all that out of the way right at the beginning. But this is my own design. As I said, I made it out of anger because nothing else would fit. I bought Snap-on radiator drain plug tools. I've bought all kinds of different radiator drain plug tools, all kinds of different stuff trying to get in there to take that out. Nothing worked. So I was like, you know what? Fine. I'm actually looking at, I printed 3D prototypes. Imagine. And tried them. They were more like a one-time use because of the square quarter-inch drive would round out on the plastic ones from the force, from the ratchet, but they did work. It was a proof of concept. So I went ahead. Kevin's got machining access and machines, and I gave him the file. I'm like, I need these made. I need a couple of them made just for testing. So he did that. I got a hold of them. I have one. I got one to one of my coworkers who has used it on a couple of them. Escapes, edges, focus, fiestas, pretty much anything with the slot radiator drain plug works perfectly. I actually used it for an edge just the other day to drain the coolant out of an edge. I can't remember what I was doing with that. It doesn't really matter. I had to drain the coolant. I don't remember. I think it might have been a coolant service or something. But anyway, works good. And I will have photos in this video, if you're watching on YouTube, of it in use. So it works very well. Through the end of November, they are $2 off. So I'm selling them on my website, twistedbuilds.com. If you go to the store, drop down to tools, custom tools, you will see it there. So $17.99 for till November, and then it jumps up to $19.99. So you're going to get a $2 discount on it if you want in on it. If you are a business or a tool truck distributor or whatever that wants in on them, actually, yes, I have been contacted by a couple. Thank you to the guys. You know who you are. Reach out to me. I do plan on doing business discounts as well. So there's that. The next one was actually a special request from one of the admins of a Ford tech group on Facebook. He is having issues getting Ford radiator caps off. And yes, these caps, you can put a pair of channel locks on. Put your pair of channel locks on, like right here if you're watching on YouTube, and then twist. All right? So you can do that. It's not a big deal. Normally, these are so stuck, you either break the cap or you really at least mar the snart out of it. I mean, the plastic gets really deformed. Those two teeth you normally push against, if you don't break them off, you're definitely going to grind them over. It's going to look like garbage. If the customer opens the hood, they're not going to be too happy that you kind of killed the radiator cap just topping off their coolant. So he had a special request. He's like, can someone make a 3/8 drive socket for these deals? Meet prototype of 3/8 drive socket. Ta-da. So, got this design out to Kevin as well. He is going to be working on it. I don't know if I'll actually put these for sale. We'll see how they go, if there's any kind of interest in it. There was interest in the radiator drain plug tools, so that's why we've got 50 going, and we're going to kind of go from there. But if there is interest in these guys, I will also put them up for sale. No idea on price because I'll depend on material and machine time. So, but that is a thing. And that's the awesome thing about having the 3D printers. Or again, if you're someone that wants to have, you don't want to buy the 3D printer, but want to have access to cheap prototyping. That's, again, a service I'm going to offer through, or do offer through Twisted Builds. I've had a couple of people take me up on that. They're awesome to have because you can print this little stuff and then you can physically check in the real world, like your CAD design actually works and it's the right thing. So there's that. I guess the last thing for the podcast is, as I said previously, check out, if you are into cars, you're into customer service, Customer States Podcast. They are an awesome group of people. The podcast is funny. I am addicted to it. I've listened to every single episode. I'm a sponsor of that podcast. I host their website. I make the bills, and I help them with their IT stuff and whatnot. Go over there. CustomerStatesPodcast.com. Yes, I made their website and host it as well. Go over there, see the podcast, give them a listen. I'm sure you're going to love it, just the same way I do. And with this podcast, as I said, I'm hoping to get into the bi-weekly plan. I would love to go weekly. it's going to depend on schedules. I'm sure everyone understands that now because, my tardiness on podcast releasing. But anyway, at least I'm being honest. So I am working on bringing up the audio quality for the remote in guests. So if you want to be a guest, I've had a couple that have mentioned that to me. I have not forgotten about you. Aaron Lyon, if you're listening to this, I do want to get you on. There's a couple others I would like to get on as well. I am working on it. It's probably going to be a Zoom and Discord deal that I'll have my guests install, and we're going to give that a go and see how that works. So, all right, I think that's it. I am at a decent time. I think that's everything. So, as I said, if you want to hear anything on the Twisted Builds podcast, my take on something, whatever, shoot me a message, dale@twistedbuilds.com. Reach out to me on Facebook. You can get onto my Twisted Builds page. My Twisted Builds has a Facebook group. It's a Twisted Builds public group. If you want to get on there, become a member, go right ahead, and I'll get you added. You can reach out to me there. You can reach out to me on my personal page on Facebook, DaleFola18 on Instagram. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.